Forging links.
Forging links.
Forging links, one person at a time.
Can you see my screen? Okay.
I can see your screen. It's a little bit blurry, but I can see it.
Just let me know if there's any issue. As you know, guys, we are Forging Links, Kirsten and myself, and basically we met on a channel that talked about biblical stuff. Now we're not going to go into that, but we've known each other now for coming on to just over 2 years, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, about 2 years. So we kind of had almost the same ideas, the same things, and we decided once I joined Hyperverse first, and then I offered this to Kirsten and Paul, her husband, and the rest is history, as they say. But one of the things that we've always tried to do is bring community to what we did, because what Kirsten loved the most about all of the sorts of the videos and the presentations and the PowerPoints and everything, she always really enjoyed the chats at the end, which we've kind of adopted that as a theme by saying to the community, look, you know, we'll do a little bit of training, give a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of history, a little bit of understanding where we are and why we're where we are. And then we open up and we ask you to come in and share. So what you've got here, you can see what we are. I'm Crypto Smith because I'm a blacksmith, which was my first job, for those who don't know. And through some recent information, Kirsten has adopted a power word called kingdom. So I thought, well, that's who we are, Paul and Kirsten, Forging Links, one person at a time. And I'm a Crypto Smith, and Kirsten's seeking to build her kingdom. So that's kind of where we are. And you can see in the back there, that's very symbolic of the direction of which we're going, which is the metaverse. But what I want to do now is just show you really how we've got to this point. Why are we here now? Why are we having this discussion? Don't want to go any more than about 15 minutes. If I'm starting to approach 20 past, give me a shout, Kirsten, because I don't want this to be a lecture. I just, for those who don't know me personally, I am a truth seeker. Once upon a time, we used to be called conspiracy theorists. We're now called truth seekers. And I'm a great believer from a biblical point of view that the truth will set you free. So although some people might not like to hear the truth, some people are quite comfortable having their heads buried in the sand. And if you don't tell me what's going on, I'll be okay. Well, that's okay. And I respect if that's who you are, then you might want to switch off and go and play something, because some of this stuff can be quite powerful. It is truth. It's not me saying it, and I'll reveal that to you right now. So what have we got? Let's have a look at what we've got. Can someone tell me if that's coming across all right? Can you see that screen? Hello?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes,
Yeah.
I can see your screen.
I thought I was muted. We get this right one day. Oh, well. Yeah, so you can see that blue, that box that says now cast your minds back, yeah?
Yep.
So yesterday we looked at the fact that throughout history, there are what we call cycles or cyclical behavior. And if you think of the moon, that rotates, 30 days on average, the sun rotates 365 days a year, so on, so on. The Mayan calendar suggests that it's a 25,000 year cycle, and so on and so on. But when we draw that down closer, what you can actually identify, especially where finance is concerned, which is what we're going to talk about tonight, there are patterns of behavior that suggest every 30 to 40 years, we have a new currency. And I can actually take you back to literally biblical and Roman times and show you how that pattern of 30 to 40 years actually plays out. Because what happens every time an empire comes to power, it basically has a run of about 30, 40 years. And basically what happens, they try and take over the world. and trying to take over the world apparently is quite expensive. So at some point they run out of cash and they have to start creating cash. They have to create either change the precious metals from 100% gold to maybe 40% gold, 20% gold, 10%. And we call that debasement. Now, of recent years, and I'm going to bring you right forward now to the last 200 years, the last empire, or the current empire that's in charge of the world right now, is America. Everything is based on American dollar. Everything is based on what America does. And basically, they are the empire as we understand what an empire is. So let me just read this and narrate it, because this is from the book Crypto Revolution. So I want to cast you back, your mind back to where we were in 2008, 2009, when we had the tech wreck, which was basically a global economic crash. And we also experienced that 2019 to 2020, when really it was the burning down of the house. And when we say the house, we're talking about the financial institution. But for the next 7 years or 8 years, that house was actually built, supposedly bigger, stronger, and fireproof. They had hopefully learned the lessons of what had happened back in 1999, 2000, but sadly, they didn't. And this particular house that we were coming into now, up until the year pretty much 2008, 2009, was supposed to be bigger, stronger, and fireproof, but it wasn't. The house wasn't built on bricks, it wasn't built on sticks, and it wasn't even built out of straw. So not only could the wolf blow it down, but just about anything that could go wrong did go wrong. And the reality was that this wasn't even a house of cards. This particular house was the flimsiest of all materials, and it was actually debt. For some bizarre reason, people thought that putting people into debt was the easiest way of driving an economy forward. And basically what they did, they packaged products, complicated, convoluted, confused financial instruments, mortgages, debt, special instruments for those who were rich and powerful and famous. They were basically exempt from the very problem that we, as the little people of the world, would be experiencing. And the reality of it was fake. It was all fake. It was money that never existed. The quality of it wasn't even an asset. It was basically just a chunk of house, and it was worth absolutely nothing. So what happened? Well, the reality of that, you'll all be familiar with the game of Monopoly and casinos. Well, basically, the house always wins. That's just the principle. So whenever you're stacked up against the financial area, you're pretty much going to know that you ain't going to win. No matter what you do, no matter how you try and navigate the circumnavigate it, you ain't going to win against the house. And it saw incredible wealth. Wealth that's made fat cats, Wall Street bankers and fund managers absolutely stinking rich, while everybody else, and guess who was left holding the can when things really hit the fan? People like you and like me, that's who carried the can. Not only did it shake financial markets to their knees, it brought global companies and nations back down to earth. It crippled global budgets, destroyed global companies, left people broke, homeless, and even ended up results of loss of life. Such was the viciousness and the devastation, the impact on the financial events. Most people know it as the global financial crisis. But the truth is, it was a crisis of addiction of debt. Their portfolios and balance sheets, that's all they were concerned about. How can we create more money? How can we keep this going? How can we keep our dream of becoming filthy rich going? And it was actually the central banks and governments that were the worst offenders. That's the idea of debt overall. And this is the new debt that is used to build infrastructures, used to fund welfare, used to fund balance the budgets. It was the crack cocaine to the government junkie. They just wanted to keep and maintain their goals at our expense. Governments added debt to balance sheets. It was a way that they had even been, and they'd even seen this before. This was nothing new. It happens every 30 to 40 years. They get elected, they come into power, and they just run their finances into the ground. And in the year 2000, the US government, their debt was 61% of GDP. If anybody isn't familiar what GDP is, it's gross domestic product. Gone are the days where we actually manufactured something and we sold it on to another person. Now it's just easier to go into debt and pay that debt back over the long term and buy what the hell we want for as long as we want, for as quick as we want. The UK GDP was 48%. Australia, which a lot of you guys are from, New Zealand, Australasia, was 42%. By 2008, the US general government's debt was 91% of GDP, and you can see the figures there. By 2008, 2009, it was 123%. In the UK and America, it was 127%. Australia was 73%. Now, let me ask you a question, guys. If you ran your budget at home on that kind of numbers, how long do you think you'd stay in that house? Because you can't run a budget that is almost twice the gross income. Can you imagine now if your income is 5,000 a month and you're living on 10,000 a month? That's just stupidity. It is craziness. And yet our governments and the banking facility allowed this condition to actually happen. So you got to ask you the question, why? And it simply astonishes me. But the scary part of it, it's showing no sign of slowing down. And the problem now is that those countries who are all bad at doing this, look at what happened in Japan, 2008. They were 140% of gross GDP. Look at what's going on in the world now. The debt in this country now alone is in the trillions. The national world debt is coming up to $26 trillion. And the stupidity of that is the only way that they can maintain the economy to go isn't to start paying off that debt. It's actually to make it even bigger. And that's the whole problem that we face. Another way to think about this is the world has to pay back every dollar of debt, then the world would hopefully pay it back. No money left. In fact, it's old money. And let's be honest, we could actually say now, and I can show evidence to this, that the whole world is actually now financially bankrupt. We're broke and we're penniless as nations. Think about the enormity of that situation. Centuries and millennia of wealth built up over time, but over the course of glutinous greed, debt addiction, 20th century living, the whole issue has now become that we are officially, without acknowledging it, bankrupt as a world. And look what happened to Lehman Brothers. The world right now, guys, from a financial perspective, is worthless. And all we're doing is trying to perpetuate the problem by keep on inflating things. Thanks to the complexity of global banking, the global financial and payment system, through layers of debt, financial products, and out-and-out confusion, banks and governments around the world were able to load up with debt. That is until some smart guy figured out that there really was, and it was going to implode, and then it did. The pinprick of the future of what happened with mortgages when, backed securities collapsed in 2012. And to be fair, we haven't really recovered from that. Central banks around the world injected funds into the banking system, bailout money, taxpayers' money to save the banks. Some of them barely held on, such as the Royal Bank of Scotland, which is largely dominant in the UK, AIG American, and Mellow in America. At one point, the US Federal Reserve injected 236 billion, yes, billion, of bailouts for those funds. We're talking about banking funds. We're not talking about your mortgage, your debt, my debt. We're talking about just bailing out the actual banking system. And all of that was paid for and is being paid for right now by us, the taxpayers. So that's where we are. That's where the world is. We are officially bankrupt. Let me just share my screen on this other point, and this might illustrate exactly where we are. If I can just bring that up. No, wrong slide. Just give me a sec, because this is scary. Everyone see my screen again? Just give me a thumbs up.
I mean, yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. Can you see that? With it being live, I'm not sure whether those numbers will come across. Tell me if they are coming across, okay?
Yeah, we can see them.
The US national debt right now, and you can see that that clock's ticking, as we say, is over, or it's just coming up to $30 trillion. If I go down for anybody who's in Australia, Australia's national debt is 689 billion. That is scary. That is frightening. Just the UK, 3.3 trillion in debt. And you can see that those numbers just roll on, roll on, roll on. They don't stop.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Yes. And I think it might be stupid. I'm just learning all this. Who are we in debt to?
You know the reality of it, Kirsten? Ourselves.
Okay, so it's our debt.
It's our debt. The governments borrow a lot and the banks borrow a lot, but at the end of the day, it's because we want things today, and we're not prepared to wait.
It's
we're
that
not prepared
gratification lifestyle that we've grown accustomed to, isn't it? Yeah.
And if you look at this one, the global government debt set to soar to a record 71 trillion this year alone, from, look at that, 29 trillion. It's going to double. Do you remember when we talked about how long does it take a swimming pool to fill up if we double it every day? Well, that's where we're at now. Our debt is literally doubling. When Obama was president of the US, he actually said, quote, and I quote, "We can't even pay the interest on the debt of what we've borrowed, let alone the debt. Because for every pound or every dollar that's in circulation, you have to create another dollar, because it's the dollar that you recreate that pays the interest. So whatever our debt is, and you've just seen there, 26 trillion, they've got to put another 26 trillion in just to pay the interest. It's stupidity. It's
mental.
Crazy. It is mental.
Yeah, Ben's just said some people pay bills on credit because their income doesn't cut it.
Exactly. And that's what we've been sold. This is exactly where we are in the world. You know, the reason why this is called the crypto revolution, because the reality of it, guys, what system is in place, which is the banking, fertility, and our current governments, they've sold us down the river. They've bankrupted the world. So is the solution to carry on doing what they're doing, or is there an alternative? Well, thank God, and I thank God that somebody by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009 was inspired to produce a white paper called Bitcoin. And here we are 12 years later, and more people have been made financially secure through cryptocurrency than through any other market. And right now we're experiencing what all of that means, because the reality now is we have an option. We have the ability to do something with what we have. Are you still sharing are you seeing my screen, or am I back on?
No, we're not seeing your screen.
All right, good. So with that in mind, what I'd like to do is ask anybody if you've any thoughts where you see things, how you see things. That was just to give you a little bit of insight into the education of how markets work, and particularly how the financial industry works. And we're going to be going through that. There are 20 chapters. We're now up to chapter 2. I will be doing a chapter a day, putting it into a PowerPoint, and I'll be sharing that with you each time we come on. Awesome. Anybody got any thoughts, any comments? Where do you see things? Do you love your government? Are you really happy with your government? Do you love your banking system? Are you happy with your banking system? Or have you joined the crypto revolution? Share your thoughts, guys. Anybody?
I'm just gonna.
Kirsten? Your thoughts?
I've got more of an airy fairy type of take on it all, because I'm just trying to I don't want to spotlight myself. I need to add you as a spotlight. I don't want it just on me. Add spotlight. There we go. So with the world the way that it is in lots of different areas, and just from what I see and hear, we're headed for a massive crash. Yep.
Absolutely.
Massive,
Yep.
like never has been seen before. And I think this education in crypto that we're getting is going to save us, for want of a better word, from that crash. The longer we've got to prepare before that crash happens, we're going to be so much better when it does happen, because it's like it's giving the power back to the people. The power that has been with the top of the pyramid. Ben called it a pyramid, real estate. It's a pyramid. We're all down here working, slaving for these guys to get rich, and people down here can't even meet their commitments to keep a roof over their head and put food on the table, which that's a pyramid. And that's what we've been brought into. That's what we've been taught our whole lives. Just go to school, get a job, work, retire, die. That's it. And it's all filtering up to these people up the top. So it's I feel like I'm in a revolution. I feel like I'm on the right side.
No, it is.
Everything.
You're right. And I couldn't have found a better way to express it, because if you look at some of the key moments in history, Kirsten, you'll see there comes a point when the one thing that drives the people to do what they do is when they can't put food on the table.
Yes, because so long as they've
got the ability to go to work and be in the slave system, whichever way you want to look at that, so long as they can put food on the table, clothe their children, hopefully have somewhere, warm and safe to, for kids to go to bed, and, you live in a house with your 2.2 children, your dog, your cat, your budgie and everything else, in your case, some chickens running around and all that stuff. So long as you're in that little bubble, that little world, and it all works, you don't think about this stuff. You don't even give it any thought until enough people, and the magic number, by the way, in case anyone's not aware of it, it's called 17%. When 17% of the population of any country say enough's enough, so that's like, sort of 2 out of 10, if you like, just under 2 out of 10 people. When 2 people say enough's enough, you can actually start a revolution. And if you look at the number of people now involved in crypto, which is probably, I would say probably less than 1, I don't even think it's 1%, if I'm honest. But to make a revolution of that, it's a non-starter. It's a complete non-starter. But the more we invite, the more we share, imagine if that doubled every day. We've done that principle of how you can get from 1 million by having 1 penny today, doubling it every day. It only takes 21 days to get to 1 million. It's the same principle with filling a bath or filling a pool, a stadium. If we could double the number every day, that 17% wouldn't take long at all. So it is about sharing, it is about education, it is about telling people what the reality of life is. Sadly, it's about pulling people's head out the sand as well, because there are people that would just rather stay with their head buried in the sand. Don't tell me about it. If I can't hear it, can't see it, it doesn't affect me, but it does.
It's funny too, like I'm going to bring Yvonne on in a second. When you're driving, like I saw myself driving to town the other day, you look around, it's a lovely day, everyone's just going about their life. You would never know that something massive is about to happen, because everything on the surface level looks life as normal. Yes, it's a bit harder to fill your gas tank. Yes, it's a bit harder to put food on the table, but everything's there's the appearance of normality. And it blows my mind that there's all this simmering in the background, and some people literally have no idea it's coming. Okay, I'm just going to bring Yvonne in. Oh, hold on. There, just unmute again.
Yep. Okay, got it. Yep. Hi, everybody. Morning, evening, wherever you are.
Hello.
I'd just like to, I had a long talk with Paul last night. Thank you for that. And I talked to him about a news item that came up, and they were talking about the stock crash. And they interviewed a supposed expert about how we can get over this and how we can survive it. She talked about budgeting and that sort of thing. But the biggest advice that she gave, which I was just blown away with, she says, maybe it's a good time to ask the boss for a raise. And I thought,
See how that goes down.
oh my God, do you want to be fired? How do they expect employers to be able to afford to pay their staff more when they have to pay the higher interest? They have to pay higher wages. They have to pay all the bills that they've got to pay. How the hell are they going to be able to afford to pay staff more money?
And was that a financial expert, did you say?
Yeah, it was actually on the news. Yeah.
Yeah, turn the news off.
Yeah, exactly. I was interested in that part, you know,
Yeah.
what they were happening. But I thought to myself, this is what people are being told.
I know.
Yeah.
This is totally ridiculous. You know?
Yeah.
How can we get that message out to them and say this is not the answer?
Well, the answer is
exactly.
we have to share it with those who we love and care about.
Yeah.
Because I tell you now, you ain't going to get it from the media.
No.
You're not going to get it in schools. You're not going to get it on the news. You're not going to get it government telling you that we're bankrupt. Right now, the world is officially bankrupt. When you can't pay your national debt, if that was you in your house, you would only have one option. You have to declare yourself bankrupt. The governments have no money. The banks have no money. All they're doing is recreating it. They're printing it. They're adding it to their ledger. How can you add debt to debt? It's criminal.
Yeah,
if you and I started printing money, we'd end up in jail. When governments and banks print,
but if
it's
if we're in jail, if we get into jail, we'll have 3 meals a day. We'll have a bed to sleep in. We'll have heated floors to walk on in the winter.
Yeah.
Well, the sad thing is that a lot of people living on the streets, like Paul said, if you go by inflation and deflation, your children will end up on the streets. There's people that can't put a roof over their head. That's reality. There's people here in New Zealand. There's people in Australia. There's people in the UK that literally cannot put a roof over their head, all their families, and they're living in cars. If they're lucky enough to have a car, some of them. It's disgusting. It is massive greed, and it's about to come to a...
And the government's got their blinders on. Don't see that.
No, they see it. They don't care.
Oh,
They're the ones at the top,
Yeah.
getting the money. Yeah.
I'd like to have some comments, guys, if anybody else has got any thoughts on that, because this is a deep subject. And, you know, the reality is we need to know this stuff. You know, I'm not afraid to tell the truth, whatever that truth. And in some cases, you know, people might not like the truth. But the reality is, and I think it was Queen Bee that just mentioned a little bit earlier on in the chat, you know, it's going to affect our children and our grandchildren. I've got 5 grandchildren. And not that I'm scared of the future, because I've known that this stuff's been coming for 30 odd years, because I know patterns of behavior when it comes to finances and empires and all of that type of stuff. So this is no shock to me. In fact, if Kirsten brought up our old channel and brought some of those recordings out, you'll see that we were talking about this stuff last year before we even got into hypergrowth. Yeah. So this is not new, guys. It's just that some people don't want to hear it. And, you know, the reality is when that crash comes, and you know, I'm not going to put any times on it. I think if anybody isn't aware of it right now, we are actually now officially in a recession. And recession means people are losing their jobs, people are losing their houses, they're losing their cars, they're being repossessed, they've got bailiffs coming to the door for debt, because what I've just demonstrated to you in this presentation is everything to do with our economies in whatever country we're in. It's all debt-based economy. We don't produce, as I said, I'm a blacksmith. I served my time as a blacksmith. I was trained to make, I could take 4 what were bus springs, big heavy springs, and I could strip 5 of them down, and out of 5, I could recondition 3 of them and put them back into circulation. That worked out approximately 50 to 60 pounds per spring. Someone, chief engineer in the company, decided it was better that he actually took a bribe and started paying 250 for each spring as a brand new product, rather than pay me a wage to manufacture 3 decent springs out of 5 ones that needed reconditioning. And that's the world that we're now in. People just want gratification. They just want more money. They're greedy. They don't care. They're not interested with jobs. They're not interested about people at the bottom, as Kirsten mentioned before. We all are, whether we like it or not, we are at the bottom of the pyramid. If you're successful financially, and there are 1 or 2 people who are, then that's great. Sorry? Somebody looking to come in? I can't see everyone's screen, guys. So if you just raise your hand, I'll have a quick look. I'm not seeing any hands raised. Just raise your hands if you want. If you're not going to come in, just close your mic down just so that we don't get any background noise. But yeah, the reality is, you're right, Kirsten. What is coming, and I can shed a little bit of light on this, there is something called the Chinese Communist Credit System. Right now, whether we agree or disagree, the Chinese government own pretty much most of the world. They own most of the gold, along with Russia. America owns very little. And what you'll find is that the whole thing is now geared up for the next empire. And if I were to actually now tell you who I think that empire is, let me tell you it's China. Okay? And I can prove that not only economically, but I can also prove that biblically. Because in the scriptures, the end time prophecy tells us that the red dragon will rise and will be the beast system. So right now, that universal credit is that everybody will be given a universal credit. And I can even tell you how much it is. It's $25,000 per year, and you'll be happy about it. But what about people who want wealth? What about people who have dreams and aspirations and goals, and they want to make a better future for their children? How many of you here right now would be happy with $25,000 a year, but you don't own a house, you can't have a mortgage, you can't create wealth, you can't have a business, you have to do what you're told, you have to go where you say, you have to buy the food that they say, you have to, send your kids where they say, and more importantly, if you're not prepared to follow rules, guess where you're ending up? You're going to jail. Yeah. Now, let's ask yourself the question. Do you want that world? Do you want that system? Because that's the system that's coming. Yeah. This next wealth transfer, this next change in economy is going to be a digital currency. And if you don't believe a word that I say, in fact, I actually encourage you, don't believe a word I say. You go do the research. Go on YouTube right now after this call and type in G7 central bank digital currency. Yeah. I'll
get the link now and post it in the chat, because everyone needs to see that. And I'm going to find that World Economic Forum ad as well, where that, it shows all happy, smiley people. It says, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. I was like, oh, okay.
And here's the other one. We touched on the Georgia Stones. If you don't know what the Georgia Stones are, that's another bit of homework.
Guide stones.
Georgia Guide Stones, yeah. 40 years ago, they were erected in the state of Georgia, USA, which actually said we are anticipating that we will reduce the global population of the world from 7.3 billion to 500,000. So you tell me there isn't. No, it's 500. It's 500,000. If you want to know that we're not being primed for something, let me tell you, the greed that exists at the top is they believe that if they can control everything from drugs to money to food to water, they can control anything. And right now, vaccines, yeah, it's not a word we like to use, but yeah, you're absolutely right, Kirsten. Yeah, monkeypox, yeah, apparently that's the latest one. It's going to be, in case you're not aware of it, it's giraffe next year, the year after it's hyena, and the year after that it's elephant pox. So they can put any agenda on us we want now, because sadly, and I know there are people on this call who have followed the guidelines of the governments. You know, they have been vaccinated, they have worn masks, they have socially distanced.
We're not going there, Paul. Remember, we're not going there.
No, we're not. No, what I'm saying is we each have the, you know, we each have agency, we each have the right to do what we think is right. But we are in a world of total utter confusion right now. And we've got to be in a position where we either get the knowledge, get the education, ask the questions, get the information that we need to do. And right now, we couldn't be in a better position with cryptocurrency, because the only way out of this that I see is cryptocurrency. There is no other solution financially to get out of the situation that we're in. The more crypto you own, the more you diversify into crypto and other assets. Gold and silver has always been a safe haven. You know, you could probably throw a few other things in there as well. But at the end of the day, by being in this space, which is the crypto space, you really want to be in a position now where you don't sell what you've got, you buy what you've got. So right now, MOF, GNX, HBT, and others, build your portfolio up, because what's coming, the only thing that's going to save us from that is cryptocurrency. Trust me, there's nothing else out there.
And doesn't it make sense now why they're trying so hard to crush it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they know that it's giving power back to the people. They don't want the power with the people. That's why they want to crush it. Hence the masks, I would say, on that video, on that launch, that Hyphenation launch. It's just to show that they're up against massive powers.
Yeah, and going back to the actual economic crash that happens every 30, 40 years, in fact, we could say it's every 10 years now. What happens there is whenever there is a reset, you know, even the G7, when our finance minister, Sonny, whatever his name is, he actually said they have already instructed all the banking systems of the G7 nations to come up with a central bank digital currency. So that's not even a discussion anymore. For 10 years, they fought it. They've tried to stop it. Now they realize they can't stop it. So the only thing they can do now is to try and crash the one that's DeFi, decentralized, and create a centralized one of which the banking elite control. So if you're not in the DeFi blockchain space that's technically off grid, then the only option is what's left, and what's left, a central digit controlled currency. And I know they're going to do the same with that. They'll do exactly what they've always done before, and they'll just do that, and they'll just create this illusion that everybody will be happy.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any thoughts?
It is 500 million. I just looked at the Georgia Guidestones. It's 500.
500.
Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature.
500 million from 7.8 billion. Wow, wow, wow. And by the way, that was erected over 40 years ago. And guess what? There is a 40-year cycle as well. So they've known for 40 years what was coming. And again, not to be prophetic, because we're not prophets, when Kirsten and I used to discuss these things, we identified that 2022 was a year when it would go down. And here we are. And it's going down. Yeah. And I think there's a song in there somewhere. But
well, if there's not, there should be.
It's definitely a song. So yeah, come on, guys. Any thoughts? Have I upset you? Have I stirred you up? Have anybody got anything they'd like to add? Because this is who we are. We're truth revealers. We want to wake you up.
Can I speak, please, Paul?
Yeah, who's that?
Hi,
Sorry, who's that?
Jill.
Hi.
It's Jill.
Yeah, go on,
I'm sorry,
Jill.
I put my
Can
camera on.
we-
I look a bit of a wreck because I've actually just come in from work. So I'd
Can
like
you
to put my camera
can
on.
you
I'll do it.
spotlight?
Yeah.
Go on, let's see it on camera. Can you put it on camera? Spotlight it, please.
Hang on. I'll
Yeah, I'm
put
just
myself on. I look a bit
Waiting
of a
for it
wreck.
to do it.
I
Sorry,
can't see
hun.
it.
I do look a
Jill.
bit of a wreck.
Here we go.
Sorry.
Here we go. Hello.
Yeah, sorry,
we
I'll get my thing there. I just want to make a comment about some of the things you've been saying about COVID, right? I have to disagree with some of the things that you're saying purely because I'm a nurse that works
Yes.
frontline of COVID. I watched
Yes.
many people die. I also watched colleagues die from it.
Jill,
And I'm
just
not-
before you go, just before you go any further, can I just tell you, if you don't know, I lost my wife 2 years to COVID,
Yes,
so
I know you did.
I know where
I
we
know
are
you
with
did.
that. But you know,
Yeah,
again, it's
and
a personal choice.
I've had it twice. I
Yeah.
know colleagues that have had it 4 times.
Yeah.
It's affected my life. It's affected everybody that I've worked with. I get what you're saying about, governments controlling people. I really do. I get it. And I agree with you. But the first lockdown, I feel that they didn't really have any choice the first time round. But to do that, that's all they could do to stop the spread. Honestly.
That's why I told Paul not to bring it up, because I know for me, like I know you feel strongly in your stance, I feel strongly in my stance. I've got best friends who feel the complete opposite to me, and I've had to say to them, look, we just can't discuss these things because we both stand in passionate camps, if you know what I'm saying. That's why I said, Paul, we don't talk about those things on here because we're trying to create a community of like minds for the crypto revolution. And
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and I get what you're saying about governments and all that stuff. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I've spoken for years to people about the American debt that will take 350 years for them to pay it off.
Horrible.
350 years, how long it will take the Americans to pay their debt off. And
That's
most
their
people have-
children, grandchildren, they're being born into debt.
Absolutely.
The thing
absolutely.
is, Jill, it's not just America; it's the world now. It's
the whole world. Absolutely, I agree. But I think because the Americans are seen, or were seen, as the model to aspire to, the American dream.
Absolutely,
let's have the American dream. The big house, the white picket fence, whatever it is that you thought the American dream was. That's what they sold, didn't they? When I was growing up at home in Australia, we used to think about the American dream as well. That's what you were taught, weren't you, as kids in the education system? Bigger, better, bigger, better. Okay, it wasn't debt in those days. We didn't have debt. That's certainly come at the time that you said. Absolutely. The late 90s, beginning 2000, that's when debt went crazy. I mean, I didn't even have a credit card until I was in my mid-30s. It just...
And now they offer them to kids out of school. It's like, here, have a credit card. Yeah, barely out of school.
I know, it's absolutely ridiculous that people are having so much debt. And it's just to buy crap, isn't it? They've sold that kind of dream. But it's true.
No, buy stuff, stuff that we pretty much don't need.
What they've actually sold, Jill, and thanks for your comments, is that they've sold the dream that you can have today and pay for it tomorrow. But as with anything, tomorrow never comes. So while I mean, mortgages are considered reasonably normal debt, and maybe if you have to commute to work, maybe even push that to a car. But I can remember when my dad went to work, he got a bus. He got on the bus. He didn't have a car till he. I was flipping heck. I think I was about 12 before he had his first car, and he was a fireman. He was, he drove fire trucks, but he didn't have a car.
No,
he didn't have a car. A car in 1970, 72, 73, when I was a teenager, cars were luxuries. Now it's almost a necessity. you know,
Yeah.
It's an
you kind of
expectation.
got it.
It's an expectation now. People grow up, and I mean, I'm the same with my kids. Like I've taught them to kind of expect things at a certain time, which is my bad. Now I know better, and I would do things a whole lot differently. But it's just like this entitled expectation mindset that we all kind of have. I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but
That's true.
thanks for that, Jill. Really appreciate that.
And you
And
look lovely, so don't ever worry about turning your camera on.
Oh, actually, I don't. I look a
You
wreck.
do. Thank you for coming on.
Just come
Great
home from
stuff.
12 hours of A&E.
Wow. Wow. Hats off to you, lovely.
you do a marvelous job.
You
Kudos
do.
to you, and thank you for helping others.
Thank
So,
you.
Lisa, would you
all
like to unmute?
Yes, thanks, Helen. Yeah.
Thanks, Jill.
Good morning.
Lisa, good morning.
Hello. Hey.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say, grateful for this call because it's awareness, right? When we get a little bit more knowledge, this information is just to increase our awareness of what's happening and then help us to strategize from a crypto perspective what we need to do to be prepared. So, you know what? Cheers. Thank you. And with information and knowledge, we decide what we're going to take on board, what feels right, and run with it. Anything that doesn't work or connect with us, that's fine. We just kind of push it, leave it to the side. So anyway, cheers for the information again, always helpful. And I'm thinking, I guess my question is, okay, as a community, we've now aware of, you know, what's happening in the powers that be behind us. I want to be able to have a bit of, for me, I guess I need a bit more info, just what my strategies are going to be. So I would be really interested in more from our community to go, okay, consider this, look at this, yes, with information backing it. So that's kind of where I need, because I don't quite have that knowledge base enough to kind of go, okay, this is kind of a safe direction to go in. So, but anyway, that's been great. Thanks for the info.
Thanks, mate. Hey, just say on that too, that there are, I'll always post in the chat, we've found Pinicky now.
Okay.
Pinicky Nate, I'm not sure how to say his name, but he seems to be a really good crypto strategist as well. And he has calls twice a week. So I'm going to post the links. Like I'll put them in together, all I have, and you can save them somewhere, but I will post them every day that those calls are happening. It's a Monday and a Thursday in the UK. So I'll work that out for us. But yeah, all these different things happening where you can jump on and learn strategies too.
I think that's a good segue into what we discussed earlier, Kirsten, because one of the things that we've become very much aware over the last several weeks, and we've all kind of hit the snag of not being able to withdraw our rewards and various things. So what Kirsten and I decided to do was look at how could we best serve this community, and what we decided was to look at other opportunities. Now, for most of us, and I include myself, and Kirsten includes herself, we are 100% behind Hyperverse going forward. And once we understand and know what Hypernation's about, I'm full of faith and confidence that there will be some incredible opportunities within that. But right now, if there was a lesson to learn, it's this. Having all your eggs in one basket is not a good strategy. We need to have eggs in other baskets, whether they're passive, whether we're in there as a community. And I posted in our community today, 300 committed people, as in the Spartans, can almost conquer the world. And that kind of goes back to that principle of 17% of the world's population can change the world. So what we've done, I've particularly done more so than Kirsten, because I've looked at it from my background and knowledge in financial services. And we have come across a couple of opportunities that we think are worth sharing. We've done our due diligence. We're still doing our due diligence. So we're not saying you have to. What we're saying is we'd like you to come and have a look. Because for those of you who are looking to beat this system, then we would recommend that you come and just have a look. We invite you to come and have a look. So what I'm going to do every AM this week, I'm going to do a call around about 9:30 AM UK, which will be sort of 8:30 New Zealand, 6:30 Australia PM. And what we'd like you to do is, hold on, let me just, sorry, I didn't, just what was that last comment by Kirsten? I kind of missed it. It went up before I saw it.
It's
Something
just,
about,
Paul, other people's teams are in this group. Yeah, and I was just typing it, so I'll just say it.
yeah,
He's
Yeah,
not
okay.
meaning, he's not meaning,
right. There's two camps here. We're obviously our responsibility is to forge links.
to our
Okay.
team. Yeah.
To our team. For those of you who aren't in our team, I don't know what your teams are doing. I don't know what, I don't even know who your uplines are. So it's not for me to make any comments. What we're saying is you're here for a reason. There's a sense of community here. There's a sense of support. We all know, and if we're honest with ourselves, there's been a void, there's been a gap, there's been almost a hole of leadership missing. And, you know, we know that a lot of our, sort of experienced leaders, V5s and so forth, they've left, they've gone and looked at other opportunities because, and rightly so, they've lost their income. They've lost their income, even though they may have had, a good 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, whatever, building up a community, building up a team. As it stands right now, they've got no income. So they're almost being forced to go and look at other things. Now, I respect that. I don't have an issue with that. But Kirsten and I have a responsibility to our community. But now we consider you family also. So even though you may not be direct to us, I don't have any issue with you coming and have a look either. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. If you think
I think
benefit you.
just the point that Kirsten's trying to make is that, remember when this whole Cowpesh thing went down, and then all of a sudden they were trying to pull us into the new shiny object, and people were like pitching, they were basically pitching. And I think, Kirsten, what we're trying to say here is that we're not trying to take away anyone's team at all, because like with you, because I've noticed Kirsten she's learned to do trading herself. She's in something where they teach her how to do trading herself, which is brilliant, which is something that you, Kirsten, could share with the community that's looking that. And I'll tell you something, this is personal. When Cowpesh and Sharon and Dan did what they did, I got the ick, right? So it wouldn't matter how wonderful their new project was, I decided that I wasn't going to do it because, got my nose out of joint and everything. And there was no way I would be going under those people again because I don't trust them. But if there was a way, because like we've been looking at what they're looking at, and it's not, am I shooting myself in the foot because I don't want to talk to them? Well, maybe I am, but there'd be other ways around that, is what we're saying. We don't have to go and see Cowpesh's face telling us every day that this is a wonderful thing, and there's other things out there, and we all need to kind of diversify without stepping on anyone's toes, because that's not what we're about at all. You've got your teams. If we can show you something that we think and that we're going into, you can take it to your you can do it with your team. It's and everything that Paul's going to show, I'm only gone in once. I've only gone on one, and it looks like a pretty high risk one. So I don't know whether I'll be sharing it with anyone, but I'll go in and have a look first. You know what I mean? It's just about sharing what we know, just like your opportunity to learn about trading, Kirsten. Like look, Dee's put I'm in, and said, oh yes, learning to trade would be amazing. So there's people in there that know that information.
I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, it's like if your team jumps on my call and then I'm going on about other opportunities, you wouldn't be happy.
I wouldn't have, trust me, mate.
No.
If they wanted to go there, all good.
But that's what I mean. I wouldn't do that, because you've got loads of people's teams in this group now that are jumping on these calls.
But they're not all our people. They're not all our people, Kirsten. They're not all our people. Like, anyway, we're all adults. And I understand that there's a networking hierarchy and stuff, but like I said, I'm not a networker. Never have been. Just love this opportunity, love the education.
Because you're not a networker, you don't. That's what I'm saying to you. That's one thing you don't do.
Okay, all right.
Well,
we'll take that on board.
Right. What I'll take on board with that, and I kind of agree, but I also disagree, Kirsten, is I was misled that there is an unwritten law of you don't, cross pitch, and I get that. I've had to address that with some people in our team alone. What we're saying here is it's important that you get educated, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. We're educating you to know that, one, do you really understand what you've got into in relation to hyperverse, first and foremost? And as soon as we have a better, clear understanding of what hyphenation looks like, then we will be jumping right on the education bandwagon of that. What I'm saying right now, people are hurting financially in some cases people aren't. So what we're saying is we're going to look at things, and we have looked at things, and that word about that unwritten law, I'm sorry, I no longer accept that, because that's what I was told. And now, because I followed that, I am now so deep in the hole, it's scaring the crap out of me. So I'm not cross-pitching anybody.
I'm not saying don't do other opportunities, Paul. Obviously, people have got to do what they've got to do. I'm doing a trading thing, but I'm trading off my own broker account. So I'm not giving a.
Well, that's fine. I respect.
Hold on, can I just ask a question then? Kirsten, that thing that you're doing, because I've seen your posts and it looks interesting. So how do we share that with people without upsetting people? Do you share it? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like,
I will never inbox anybody from Hyperverse. People have come to me.
So people go to you, is what you're saying?
Yeah, if they ask me, then obviously I'll send it in, but I would never go to somebody and say, yeah, do I take a look at this? A few people from Hyperverse have asked me, and I've sent them the information.
I've been asked about certain things as well. I get what you mean, but I just want to know how, for the people on this call, okay, so that have come into the Forging Links group for whatever reason, whether they're part of Paul and my team, or they've just thought, man, I like what's in there, and they've just joined that way. For people on this call that are thinking, oh, I'd like to know what Kirsten's doing, what do they do?
Well, they can see my name on Facebook, can't they? Well, Kirsten Lavelle, they can see me in the group.
Yeah.
So if people want to know what it is, then I can tell them.
Yes,
but if it's your people, I'd rather you speak to them about it, because you've put all the hard work in bringing them into your team.
Yeah, but then it's like, I'm going,
come and join me.
I totally get what you're saying. And that's when Paul first started talking to me about looking at diversifying, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have a look at these things that he's showing me, of course. And then I said, but other people need to be able to see that there's things out there, because me as a crypto newbie, I had no bloody clue about any of it. I didn't even know there's other things out there. Seriously, did not know. So now I've had this conversation with Paul, like, how do we ethically, without upsetting generational networks or whatever it is, how do we ethically get the information to the people without upsetting anyone or stepping on anyone's toes? Because people want the information. Like, I get
people want to join stuff, just obviously, if people want to join stuff, you obviously say, right, speak to the person who brought you into Hyperverse, because it's only fair. If they're not joining, then sign them up.
Exactly.
No.
That was the point.
No, you're missing the point, Kirsten. What I'm saying here is there are people in this community, particularly in this community, who have made a decision that because Kalpesh did what he did, and I was torn. I love the bones of the guy, I'll be honest. As I do Sharon and Dan, but they gave us information that took us in a direction that perhaps we didn't want to go. And in the end of the day, I had to find another means of an income. So me down in tools and not doing anything was not the best advice that they could have given me. And that was the advice that they gave me. So I'm not talking about get this thing about hyphenation loyalty. That's gone. That was finished literally 6 months ago. We've had miscommunication, we've had lack of communication, we've had different people saying different things.
What are you on about, Paul? Who said hyphenation loyalty? I'm not saying that. What
No,
I'm
you
saying
just
is
said.
people have worked
No,
hard to
Kirsten,
bring
Kirsten, let me
people have worked
finish.
hard, haven't they, to bring the teams into Hyperverse. And
Yeah.
then
I'm
you're
not
now on the
questioning that.
call talking about other
No.
opportunities. You
No,
know,
I'm
they wouldn't even
not.
be
What
in
I
this
said.
group. If it wasn't,
Right, well,
my
do me a
team would
favour.
not be in this group if it wasn't for me telling them to join it.
Yeah.
And now you're
Yeah.
talking about other
No,
opportunities.
no, but it
No, I'm
wouldn't be.
not.
It wouldn't be us. It wouldn't be us. It would be you. It would be you that
What
they
we're
would.
saying
So
is.
what? I've not even spoke to any of my team about what I'm doing. You can ask them.
Well,
Dee's
then-
on here now. I've not asked her to look at what I'm doing.
Well, that's
You know
your
what I mean?
choice, Kirsten. That's
I
your
totally
choice.
get
What
it.
I'm saying.
Yeah, that's my
What
choice,
I'm
and I'm asking you, you know, not to do this. Or if you want to speak to your own front line about opportunities, go for it. But you know,
totally-
there's a lot of
been-
people in this group.
That's what we're doing. So let me just
But you're not,
clarify.
because there's other people on this call.
Kirsten, let me finish my conversation, please. What I'm saying, this is a Forging Links community. If what I've said is we have looked at other opportunities. If you're in Forging Links, there will be a post in Forging Links. It won't be anywhere else. It won't be in any other group. It won't be in any other chat. It will be in Forging Links. If you're in our team, then you come to us direct. And if you want to get on that call, you come into that call. What I have said respectfully to people who aren't in our team, if you want to have a look, that's up to you, but we will respect your hierarchy. And if you've got a team leader, in your case, you're a VIP, then what you do with that information, even whether you come and not, you may decide not even to come and have a look. That's fine. You make your decision. But what I don't want in this community, and I've had 3 conversations today alone, of people saying I can't do. Listen, I can do what the hell I want. And if this group isn't that we can share information with people.
That's taking a nasty thing. We're going to bring in Ruth.
No, okay.
Yeah,
Let me
Thank
go
you.
on, Ruth.
Oh, no, I'll make it short. Just to say, well, somebody just alluded to talk to your offline. Some of us don't have uplines, and I'm
Exactly, that's my
1000%
point.
behind what Paul and Kirsten McDonald is offering in Forging Links. I
That's
brought
fine,
myself
you've
into
got choice,
Forging
haven't you?
Links, and I am just open to learning. And because, like Kirsten said, I'm a newbie, and whatever is going at the moment, I'm going to take it hook, line, and sinker. So I think we're all adults. If we have anything offered, if you want to, you join in. If you don't want to, please, some of us are interested and we want to have a look. And a lot of people are in trouble because of what has happened. Well, I don't have any bad blood in me or bad mind against anybody, but if I have any opportunity to look at anything going, especially with the group now that I trust, because I brought myself into Forging Link and I'm here to stay. I just want to put myself in there as much as possible. There's nothing wrong in diversifying. There's nothing wrong in putting your eggs in many baskets, because I mean, we have put it in one basket, most of us, and this is what has happened to us. So please, my
We've lost
question
you there,
is,
Ruth.
sorry, can you
Carry on,
please,
sorry, you just froze.
yeah, can you please post the link for those of us who want to be part of the, to look at the opportunities for tomorrow, please.
Absolutely.
And I'm
Absolutely.
sure I'm not speaking alone for myself. I just want to learn, please. And I'm an adult. I can go anywhere I want. So leave the decision to me to see if I want to have a look or not. But I'm speaking for myself. I don't want to speak for anybody else. Please, everybody speak for yourself. This is not about network marketing. I don't believe that anymore. I believe in education. I have an education background myself. And so I'm open to learning anytime, any day. I was in that call this morning at 5 a.m., Paul, and I saw you there. You didn't want to put your camera on either. So I'm just mopping it up now. Please share the link for us. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thanks, Ruth.
Hey, Ruth, I tried to find you on Facebook and I couldn't. So see, can you find me?
I can, yeah.
Yeah,
actually joined. I join this call every day on Facebook, from Facebook links.
So you're in the Forging Links group?
Yeah. In the
Perfect.
Forging Links group.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I told you my Facebook name.
Yes, I wrote it down.
I put
Oh
it
my
down.
God. Yes.
Exactly. So that's what you should be looking
That's
for.
where
Yeah.
I'll find it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I every 2 hours of the day, I check anything going on forging links, any
Oh,
new
beautiful.
information. So yeah, I join on Facebook.
Just thanks, Ruthie. Just so that you know, the actual thing that we're going to have a look at tomorrow, Jamie Booth, who's obviously in his own team, I've asked him to share that information with us, and he has done. So tomorrow, that's what I'm trying to say. It is somebody from another team who has shared an idea with us, and we're going to have a look at it, because I need a secondary income. My only income that I've had for the last 12 months has been through Hyperverse. So now that I'm not getting those rewards, I need to look. So I'll bring Jamie on, because this goes back to what Kirsten was saying, Kirsten Lavelle. There is this, unwritten law, if you like, about not cross-pitching other businesses. Yeah, I get that. But there are a lot of people also struggling to put food on the table. And it's important that if somebody's got an expertise, if somebody's got knowledge, I know that Jamie's a trader. He's been trading for a while. There are other people in Hyperverse who are traders. Kirsten's a trader. Daniel Booth's a trader. Sharon James is a trader. So it's not that the knowledge isn't there within our own team. Right now, the biggest challenge that we're facing, and then we'll bring Anthony on after Jamie, is there is a void of leadership. So a lot of people don't know where to go, don't know where to turn to, don't know where the advice is, don't know what's going on. So all we're trying to do as best as we can with the knowledge that we've got is to give people the opportunity to be in a community of people who can share ideas. And that's all I've been saying. So with that, Jamie, and then we'll take Anthony.
Yeah, it's a great call tonight again, like normal. And anybody in the Winners Network group, I always share to my team straight away. And even down to a couple of weeks ago, I was sharing chase cards to people, because people at the moment need money. And chase cards are a bank card where you share it, you get 20 quid. And people, even myself, we're struggling at the moment. It's hard having your rewards cut, off to work and so on. So I'll always, as being in networking for 5-6 years, I've always got multiple streams of income. If I see Revolut cards, you get 50 quid, you know what I mean? You got to tell people out there. And if people ask you on your Facebook, then I'll show them. But I know for a fact there's V4s, V5s pitching in my inbox for Hyperverse. So it doesn't make a difference. And these aren't anywhere in my upline and teams and so on. You know what I mean? But what we'll do is, like I've always said to my team, is if they got anything, let's share ideas, because this rule about, cross-pitching, we're not cross-pitching. If it's on my Facebook and I'm doing something and I'm happy with it, I'll always do it. I'll sell aftershaves in the past. I'll sell perfumes to people at cost price, because I always believe in, I'm not bothered, I've been using them for years, but to help somebody to save that little bit of money where they can use it on something else, I haven't got a problem with it. At the end of the day, I have people in my team who've got different, they've got these fuel tabs and all this load of stuff. If somebody's interested in it and I'm not part of it, I'll say go to them or go to these, or, to help them out. And that's what networking about as well, is where you help people out. If you're supporting a post on somebody's Facebook, you might be a friend on Facebook. And if you support it, and if somebody wants to save money on the gas and electric, I'll go to somebody and say, yeah, have a word with them, because they're in, they could save you money on that and stuff. It's always, I've always done it, when I worked back in Vodafone selling phones. If I could get referred, I always say, have you got any friends and family could benefit from savings, rewards? I've always done it, and I'll always do it. And like I say, at the moment, we don't know how long the rewards are going to take to come out. HVT, for any of the V1s above or pros, or anybody even not building a team, it's too slow. The money's so slow, it's drip fed. And yeah, if there is something out there, what ticks all the boxes and, due diligence, happy days. And the ones what I do is absolutely all the T's across, the I's are all of it's all done. There's all due diligence. So yeah, I'm happy with with my team side.
Good. Thanks for that, Jamie. Well done,
Yeah,
mate. And we'll have that conversation.
Yeah, I find all this really hard to navigate, all this networking stuff and understanding about cross pitching and I get it. I totally get that. But it's just how do you get past that? How do you help somebody without stepping on toes? I don't know how to navigate my way through that. Yeah.
The rule is if somebody asks you, then you
really,
can pitch him.
Okay.
That's all it is. If somebody asks you what you're doing, you can do it because you're not in. The rule is you shouldn't be inboxing other teams. Fair dues. I disagree with that, where people inbox and start pitching straight away and all this load. You know, I've got loads of friends in network marketing. Lindsay's been in the beauty side for years and years. So there's people on the beauty side who look at our business of Hyperverse. You know what I mean? And then they aren't in Hyperverse, but then we might buy products from them. We're not selling their products, but we might buy products from them to help them out. And that's what it's about. It's like if you run a business at your little shop and you got your own shop, you know, nobody tells Richard Branson, oh, you can only have this, this and this, or Boots, you could only sell Chanel aftershaves and stuff. People have the choices there, and that's what it's about. Is we try to help each other, and that's what I always say to people is where if you have got something and you could save them money, happy days.
Yeah.
One-stop shop.
Thanks for that, Jamie. We're going to bring Anthony. Are you still there? Yeah, he's still there. Yeah, if you can unmute my friend.
That's okay. Thank you very much. And thank you, Paul and Kirsten. I wanted to say thank you to, how do you pronounce the name? Is it Ruthie? She actually said something very interesting. Yeah. We all have, we are all adults over here and we have our choices. When you've got an opportunity, again, there are certain things that you do and you don't do. But as you're saying, you're posting it on your own website. And if it's something that we're interested in, it is our choice to look at it or not look at it, you know. As long as there's no poaching going on, that's fine. You know, we've got to be clear about everything that we do. And, there's some kind of, what we call it. Yeah, as long as it's decent, you know, we're all here to help each other and learn from each other. That's very, very important.
I've got I've got zero agenda other than
absolutely
wanting to show other people other things that other people are doing, like what Kirsten's doing with the trading.
You've got a good heart.
Interesting, and there's already people that want to know.
So this is what we see. You know, there are people, with different challenges at the moment. Everyone has their own challenge. Something that used to work really well is, not working right now as it used to. So certain people are struggling in different ways. So if there's something that can help them, assist them, we're not saying dump, this position or whatever, but if you can assist them to do something with, if the opportunity works for them, then fine. It's up to them to actually look for it and take part in it. So we've all got our own choices, and it's nice if someone comes to my shop and we don't have a product that for them, but I do know somebody else that does. I would very gladly say, look, you can try this one here. They may have something for you, but think of us next time because we're here for you and this is what we sell, so it's all about helping or assisting, I would say, and guiding them. And networking is wonderful. We all, as long as we keep it nice and clear and don't do the dirty on anyone, it's nice. You're here to help each other and learn from each other. So if something's working, let's see if it's right for us.
Yes, I agree. I'm just
on that note, I'll
oh, sorry, I'm just posting in the chat for Anne and is it Nyala? I've just spoken with Kirsten Lavelle and she's just said for you guys to reach out to her personally on Facebook. So I'll just put her name in the chat and you can find her on Facebook and reach out to her about what she's doing. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Also, as well, what I always do is on my team, especially if I've got something and I share it with my team, my directs, then if somebody's 2 or 3 levels deep, I will then share it back to my directs as well. So I always keep it fair in the team, you know what I mean? So it's always, if somebody's in my team who are 3 or 4 levels deep, I'll try to get there. If their uplines in my other business with me, they'll get the lead anyway, because it all works fair and fair. You know, everybody gets, you know, it's like anything. If you're fair with people, it always comes back and helps
exactly
people,
the right way to do it,
and that's what it's about. And you know, Anthony just hit it on the nail. Where if you don't sell a
We never
product, but you
burn
make
bridges.
doors, I've got loads of people. You know, the businesses we've been involved in. You meet people all around the world, don't you? And that's what it's about. Just sharing.
Yeah.
Making sure we,
Yeah,
you're not
you're
on
right,
anybody's
Jamie,
toes,
you know?
but you're just showing them, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, this has been an eye-opening call for me, because I'm like I said, I'm new to all this. Like, and Salacious just said, integrity in our actions. Absolutely. I think if we can just keep integrity happening, and like if there is a hierarchy, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to step on anyone's toes. That's not the goal of the call. The goal of the call is for somebody like me to see what's out there from people that I consider in the game or in the knowledge or whatever, because I don't know where the heck to look. I seriously don't. I'm not going to go look myself, because I'm not cluey enough to do that. I like to hear from other people, and if it's in somebody's different life, mate, it's not even, like Dee's just said, we're family in here. I'm sure we all have the best intentions. We absolutely do. We absolutely do, Dee. And I'm sorry if anyone's got offended from the call. That was never the intention. We're all just in the same boat, navigating these waters until hyphenation explodes into view, which is going to be really soon. Let's be honest, it's going to be really soon. But yeah,
well, that's exactly what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, and for those who want to learn to trade, jump on friend Kirsten Lavelle. I've spelled her name in the chat. Go and message her directly, and then she'll let you know what she's doing, which I'm going to message her directly and find out what she's doing, because I want to know what she's doing. All right. I think unless there's anything else that needs to be covered, Mr. Gumpson, we'll end it.
No, I think that is, and you know, I just want to reiterate to everybody, you know, I do consider that this particular group has something special to offer. And, you know, yes, we're respectful of people who have built businesses, we understand that. But right now, I know, and I think Ruthie perhaps gave the best example of that, she's got no upline leadership. So what do I say to her? Do I just kick her out the boat and say, oh, you just better learn to swim and hurry up? Or do I say, come on our boat and, you know, let's paddle together and let's work together? That's what we're saying. You know, so if you are void of leadership right now, and you've come over to our group because you think we've got something different, and I do think we have something very, very special here. You know, I've been on that many calls. You know, Anthony will tell you, I was so tired this morning I couldn't even put my camera on. You know, because I in fact I didn't even want to get out of bed. That's how bad I was, because I've been doing research after research after research, Zoom after Zoom after Zoom. I think I said to Anthony this morning, I think I'm on my 15th Zoom and I'm only on Wednesday.
Yeah. We're jumping in other people's calls as well. There's that daily one at 5 a.m. in the UK. I struggle with it because it's happy hour at our house. It's just like mental time, kids and babies and stuff. But the point is, we're jumping in those. Now, if somebody was to say on those calls, I think there's something that's worth looking at, I would look at it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to upset anybody or step on toes or whatever, but I want to learn. I'm like Anne. She said she just wants to learn everything from whoever. That's exactly where I'm at. I don't care who's doing it. I just want to learn. I want to suck it all up like a sponge.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway, great call.
Mate. Oh, I love her.
Thanks very much.
All right, guys. Well,
thank you all.
Thanks for being here today. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good night.
Take care, and we'll. I say keep an eye out for the link. If you want to come and have a look, then please come and have a look.
Definitely.
All right.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Good night. God bless you.
Bye. Good night.
Appreciate it all.
Forging links.
Forging links.
Forging links, one person at a time.